So here I are getting the rear end ready to install back in the car when it's ready. And I went to great lengths to smooth all the housing up and all that stuff. Now that's done, just ready to put it together. All right, finally back on the recreate my first car. Apologize for all the jumping around back and forth between the two cars. I pulled the 65 two-door post up there out of the way because I'm running out of time to get this thing ready to go on the power tour. So all I like on this rear end now is getting it the rest of the way ground down. You see I've been grinding these old nasty welds that was put on there years and years ago. So we're going to get that thing cleaned up and hopefully get it painted and put together by the weekend. If you don't have one of these belt sanding tools, you need one. That ought to give you an idea of how long I've been out here sanding on that dad blame thing. Look how good that looks. And then I'm going to go back. I'm actually going to smooth this up slick, and I'm going to paint it to color the car. So I got a lot more work to do, but that's what I've been doing out here. I can't wait. Oh, 9-inch Ford coming along, baby. One more piece I hope to be done with this week to go in the car. Project recreate my first car. We're going to drive this baby on the power tour. My first time welding in the shop. Let's see if it'll work. Not too bad. Oh, welder ain't been using forever. And look at that big old hole I'm trying to fill up there where they didn't have that rear end in there. The shock mounts on there very well. Ugh, ugly. So we're gonna fix all that. Dang, I'm coming along. Well, I think I got it cleaned pretty good. Got the places welded up on it that I wanted to weld up. Are they wonderful? No, but they're at least solid. I'm gonna go back and dress them up a little bit more, but the bigger thing is I don't want this thing to rust, so I'm gonna clean this thing off. This is just like some wax and grease remover type automotive stuff. And I'm gonna clean it really, really good. And then I'm gonna put that rust trap stuff back on it like I did that other. I think, man, I tried to sand that stuff. That stuff's hard as a rock. So we're gonna see how that right there works, get it all cleaned up. Get that done, and then all I have to do is sand all that down, do the other little trimming up that I want to do on it, and blow the paint room back up and paint that thing gray. Heck yeah. Well, here we go. I got it all cleaned off. I sure hope this does work as good as it looks like it's going to, because I sure I put a lot of time in this thing. Of course, I'm still going to sand all this down. I'm just doing this right here to keep it from keeping it from rusting on me out here. If you got one of these buildings, you know they sweat sometimes. So trying to keep sure that is going to be okay. And then I'm going to go back and still got to do a lot of sanding and everything. And I'm going to put conventional spray primer on everything after that. But I'm going to get this baby covered up to where hopefully it's not going to rust back on me or anything. And then I'll put the filler and stuff to it there tomorrow night, maybe. Hopefully I'll have time to do that tomorrow night. And because I want to make this look really nice. Try to anyway. So, but hopefully this is going to not only protect it, but kill the rust and stuff on it, like they say it will. So we'll see. And then then I can have this, hopefully, not too many more days, I'll be able to have this thing painted and get the chunk set back off down in it, and that'll be one thing that'll be absolutely completely done on the car, and I'll just set it over there in the corner, and it can be sitting over there waiting on its car. So, and one reason I'm not too worried about these old brush marks and stuff is because I'm going to sand it. I think I already said that, but I'm going to sand it and then put regular conventional primer on it, and that'll make it slick, and then paint it. So this here is just kind of protecting it until I can do that, and that's supposed to get off down in there and kill that rust and stuff in those welds that I can't get to and stuff. So kind of trusting the product here and what I'm getting told about it, which I believe where it's coming from, so we'll see. This is the product I used on that rear end housing. Well, again, man, I'm impressed so far. This stuff sticks like it's supposed to, and goodness gracious, I hope it does, because I put a lot of work in this thing. Look at that, how nice that sealed that thing off there. That's crazy. And we'll see tomorrow night or the next night how well it sands and put some filler in some places there. But man, that looks just awesome so far. That's really going to look good charcoal like the car. All right, so I've let this dry. It's the next day now. And I'm taking some 180 and knocking all this stuff down. And right here's what I'm going to fix. I'm going to smooth that out right there some. And hopefully, my plan is to get all this sanded today and put the filler in it tomorrow, knock it off there, and reprime it again, and it'll be ready to paint. So it's not really all that bad. But I'll show you how easy this stuff sands. I was trying to keep that from scratching it up, but I don't guess that's going to let it hold it up there for me. And it ain't like I ain't going to prime it again anyway, so I just put it up there like that. Oh my goodness. It's fine. It's fine. Got it. Yeah, there we go. Good grief. No, I like finishing up. All right, so I put a little body filler in this where them chips is at there. Looks like I got all carried away there in excess, but anyways. So I'm going to sand that off there. I tell you a quick thing. Back years ago, I worked with this guy. His name was Don. I love that old man. He still calls me at Christmas time. We hadn't worked together in 25 years, but I was a lot younger then. And Don said, all you got to do to do body work is you spread that Bondo on there where the dent's at, and all you got to do is sand off everything that don't look like whatever you're working on. So if my old buddy Don was standing here, he'd tell me all I got to do is sand all this Bondo off that don't look like this 9-inch housing. It's funny how some people has impacted you that you've worked with. Not all of them in a positive way, I can guarantee you that, but that old man right there, man, I still remember stuff that he taught me all these years. My buddy Don, he was awesome. He'd tell them, he'd say, boys, he said, you want it right or you want it tonight? And then he'd come over and they'd ask him about it, and he'd go, yep. He said, I'm slow good. So all I'm doing is sanding all this filler off that don't look like a 9-inch Ford housing. And when I get all that off there, we'll put some primer on it and paint this thing. So I just happened to think about that, old man, when I was doing this and thought I might share that with you.
So like I said, after all these, ever how many years I've done it, 30-something years, I have really, he is one of my favorite people that I've ever had the opportunity to work with. And just happened to think about him. Talked to him at Christmas again this year. So good old buddy Don. So there you go. If you ever want to know how to do body work, that's all you got to do. Put your filler in the dent. If you're working on the fender, sand everything off. It don't look like a fender. And if you're working on a hood, sand everything off. It don't look like a hood. And if you're working on a 9-inch Ford rear end, sand everything off that don't look like a 9-inch Ford rear end. So there you go. Saved you thousands of dollars at trade school.
Not the best lighting in the world, but about 2 hours later, I have the housing primarily sanded. I got to go back and get all the little cracks and crevices, and then it'll be ready to paint. All right, it's the next day after I sanded myself to death there yesterday. Now I'm going to go over it with this little scuff pad. These are cheap. I'm sure everybody probably knows that, but these are just really easy to go and get in all your little, see where that's shiny at right there? That's got to be dulled down or it's not going to stick. And you can just simply take your scuff pad and look at that. It'll get all off down in there. And if you really wanted to get serious, if you're doing like the outside, get you a little Comet or some Ajax and put in there with that thing. So now I just got to get all these little shiny stuff scraped up, and we fix and paint us a rear end. All right, now I got to put some nice wax and grease remover on it. Make sure it's nice and clean. That's some cheap stuff that's really, really good. And a lot of it gets overlooked how important that is, and that just cleans off the last bit of stuff on it. And that thing will be clean. And what I'm going to do is I've got some primer sealer. It can either, depending on how you mix it up, it can either be primer or sealer. I think I got it smooth enough to where that I can just seal it. I'm going to mix it up as sealer and just seal it and paint it. Now, the good thing about that is after I get it sealed, if I don't think I got it slick enough, it ain't no big deal. I'll just won't paint it and let it dry and sand it. It'll be the same as the primer. It'll still sand just like primer. So, but I'm going to give it a shot and try to get it all in one lick here. So that's going to be the next step. Mix that. I got a couple other things I'm going to get ready, because you might as well spray as many things as you can, because once you mix all this stuff up, you either have to use it or throw it away. And stuff costs too much to throw away. So I'm going to make sure I've got some other products, some other things ready to spray to where I can just spray it all if I've got enough. So that's the plan. I'm going to set that other stuff up inside the garage in a little blow-up paint room. And like when you're wiping it off, that's another chance to make sure and see if you got everything. I missed that in there. I got to go back and sand that real quick. And we're going to paint something.
All right, here we go. I hope my mics and stuff are working this time. So this is just some good primer sealer. Actually, it's House of Colors. It's what it is. And depending on how you mix it, their mixing ratio will determine if it's a sealer or if it's a primer. And I've got it mixed up as a sealer because I'm hoping I'm going to like what I see after I get this thing sealed. And I'll go ahead and put the paint on it. But the good thing about this stuff is, if I don't like how it looks, all I've done is primed it. And I'll let it dry and sand this primer down, and then it'll be ready to go. But I think we're pretty close. I'm hoping it is anyways. Of course, if I didn't think it was kind of close, I wouldn't even attempt it to do it this way. I would just work on it some more, but I really do think it is. And these ladder bars, I'm pretty almost 100% sure, because they're all beat all up big time, that they're not going to be to suit me. So I needed to prime them anyway. So instead of having to throw it away, because all this is activated. So once you activate it, you gotta use it or throw it away. So we'll see here. Actually, that thing looks like it's covering up pretty good. I'm really excited about this because this is actually going to be the first major part of the car that's actually going to be getting some paint on it. How cool is that? Finally. And if you've watched any of my things at all, you know that I've only got until the 1st of May to get this car done. That'll give me a whole month to try and get it all the bugs worked out of it and all that kind of stuff. Got a little bit of drip right there. Let me go get some stuff. I'll take care of that. That's some serious metallic right there. Matter of fact, it's double what this paint coat calls for. And that's how it comes up with that color that was on that. And again, this is the color that was on the car when I painted it in, I can't remember if it was 82 or 83 when I painted it this color right here. But it was one of those two. Now we're fixing to paint us some parts, painting their axle housing on this thing.
First coat of base. This will be the first major part of the car that gets painted. Well, remember how I told you I really wanted it to be nice? I'm not happy with it, so I'm gonna stop right there. Where it messed up right here on me, I got a little bit of run and I smoothed that out. I'm not liking that. And I'm not liking that little place there. This is covered up. Not liking that little place there, so I'm gonna just let that dry. And all I gotta do is sand it a little bit. I saved my paint. I'll go back over it and sand it a little bit with probably some 600 really good. And then that way I can do these right here. Like I said, I didn't know for sure if these would make it or not. I really didn't think they did. And so I'll get these sanded back down and maybe I can get those with it too. So that's part of it when you're painting, if you want to try to make it nice. Sometimes you just have to do a do-over. But not necessarily an all do-over on this, and I stopped when I seen the places on it. So no big deal, no big deal. Well, I ended up staying out here long enough for it to dry, and I actually sanded it. Look how much better that looks. Look how much better that looks. Look how much better that looks. We're gonna get her painted today, baby. I need to quit saying that. That's silly. But anyways, I'm excited. I don't know if y'all can tell that or not. This thing's gonna happen. So now I get the rest of it on there, put a little clear on it, and we're done. I guess you might as well get all you can get done. So while that rear end is drying, I'm gonna paint this red, which is Ragoon red, which will be the same color as the dash. I'm gonna get these brake rotors and these calipers painted red because that's how they were painted on the car. And remember, I'm trying to mimic a car, not make it better or different. And so I'm gonna get that took care of today too. So I'm gonna mark a couple of things off my list today. This is 80s style right here for sure.
I really do hope that my camera didn't mess up again. I got bad connection out here in the shop. I'm gonna have to get my Wi-Fi boosted out here. But this is the brake drums and the calipers. No, it didn't have disc on the front, but it's gonna be safer. Because like I said, I got a little more sense now. And but that's the color, Ragoon red. That's the same colors inside. There they are. I sure hope I just didn't have a good connection out here and it didn't load up. But anyway, so I got a lot done today. That's a building full, and you got to go around it and all that stuff. But look there, no overspray in my shop. That did really good. I'll get you in here and show you these. I didn't show you where I cleared them. I put some heat treated some high temperature clear on my. I opened the door up, you couldn't see where that's in. So there's my brake drums, my calipers for the disc brakes on the front of it. And like I said, I know that's old school, but that's how I had it. That's how I want it. Now, these wasn't on it, but I got more sense now than I did back then, and I need that thing to whoa as much as I need it to go. So, there we go. I love this little room. All right, here we go. I hope my mic's working. Testing. Hope it's working. I'm putting a semi-gloss on this thing. I don't think you're going to be able to tell, and I think it'd be a little easier to keep it clean if I do that. So here we go. God, I love that color. I'm glad that was able to dry to where I could get this finished up today. This is a pain to set all this stuff up. Man, look at that metallic popping out there now, baby. Gosh. Man, this is so exciting to me to finally get this car back together. Let that dry a little bit. One more coat. I like it. Get my buddy to come over here. I'm going to change a little bit. I'm going to have a little something wrote here and a little something wrote on one of the tubes probably. Yeah, buddy. Okay. I'm satisfied with that. I think that right there looks awesome. Especially for the bottom side of the car. Dang it. You know, I think about it. Put that much effort in the bottom. Can't wait to see the sides and the top. It's going to happen. Project Recreate My First Car is on its way. Bam.
I really wanted to use this backing place that had the scuff place on it. So what I done was, believe it or not, I actually put some bed liner and some gloss paint on these backing plates.